Well, boys and girls, this is Pat with Outlaw Roadside Service. Just wanted to talk about a few things real quick and maybe get you a little bit informed on some stuff. Maintenance on vehicles, very important. You know, you do your oil changes, you do your tire rotations, you change the trans fluid, you power steering fluid, you do brakes, front and rear. But there's a couple of things that are like, well, one thing that I deal with on a basically a weekly basis is, and it's so overlooked until you're in that position, you need to do a tire change. And I'm especially talking about vehicles that have tires underneath their vehicle. I know up here in Chicago, I see it a little bit more often for the simple fact that they have salts up here. They have the snow. They have elements that are involved in making these things just not work properly. But there's a little thing you could do to get them to always work. I do it on my own vehicle. Even down in South Texas, I always used to do maintenance on it. I used to lower the spare tire and then raise it back up and lube everything that needed to be lubed. Lube the cable, lube the locking mechanism on the hoist, and make sure that it's functioning properly. Because what happens is, and I see it all the time, especially on GM vehicles, the locking mechanism can't slide and open up when it needs to. And when you're releasing the cable, the cable's coming down, but that's all that's coming down. The wheel's still stuck pretty much only maybe about 2 inches that it dropped from the top. And that'll prevent you from doing an oil change or a tire change. So if you do your own oil changes, lower and raise the hoist. Take the spare tire down and look at everything under there, and just make sure everything works properly. Unfortunately, tonight I couldn't do anything with this customer. I never like to leave a customer stranded. If there's something that I could do, I do it. That's why I try to carry almost everything on my truck. And unfortunately, my service truck is down. I'm waiting for parts to come in from Chevy. They should be here tomorrow, and I'll be back in my truck. But I couldn't do anything for this customer because I'm in my Cadillac, which I don't drive that often. But I felt really bad for the guy, you know. He waited 45 minutes just to come find out that I couldn't do anything. But he was kind of like upset that I couldn't do anything, but there's nothing I could do. I mean, tow drivers and people in this industry don't carry really the necessary tools to make the repair on the side of the road. Now, in my case, I try to keep those tools so I could at least get the tire down. I mean, tonight, I just didn't have my service vehicle. I carry what I need in my car that I just need to do what I'm supposed to do. So he got a little upset, saying, well, you should have all the tools you need on with you at all times. Well, we're not obligated to do those things. I do it because I try to take care of my customers that way. I go the extra mile. And I understand his frustrations, you know. And then he wanted to blame the people that took the call from the company he called into, which could be various companies, you know. And I tried to explain to him, well, those people aren't educated enough in our industry. They don't know. All they do is take the call and put the stuff in a computer and send it off to a dispatch office, and then they send it out to whoever they're going to send it to. In an ideal world, they would know this. But just like we're trying to pawn it off on some lady maybe taking a call, or some guy that is not mechanically inclined taking a call, that's all they do is they're call takers. I think maybe instead of pointing a finger at them or at the person that's coming out to help you, maybe you also have to take a little bit, just a tad of responsibility, that maybe there should have been something that you could have done. But then again, just like those other people aren't informed because they're not really in the industry, you're also not informed. So all I can say is, if you're on the side of the road, don't get really upset with the call taker, the dispatcher, or the guy that's coming out to help you. I mean, fortunately, I'm the owner of the company. But I would hate to see, when I get to the point where I hire drivers, which I am, I'm actually trying to hire technicians, not drivers. Now, but don't blame them. They're only out there to do a certain job, and maybe what you think is their part of their job is necessarily not, because there could be liabilities involved in that if you're not going about it the right way and getting the approvals and getting the proof of the approval and stuff like that. Might want to think about not pointing a finger at everybody and just taking what I'm telling you at that point and taking it for further use. Like I said, I try to do as much as I can for a customer, because I never like to see them still sitting there without the problem solved. So it kind of wears on me a little bit heavier than, I guess, the normal roadside guy, because all he's after is, I'm going to make that buck, and that's it. For me, it's a little bit more, because when you're out here and you have a good reputation, believe it or not, that gets back to those companies that you went out of your way. And when they start hearing more and more, and your name coming up and your company name coming up, it's a world of a difference, because then they know they have a good company that's going to do whatever they have to do for that customer. And that's priceless. I know when I signed on with one of the big insurance companies as being a provider for them, they basically left it up to us and our leeway of what we can and cannot do. And but they also understand that, and we need to understand that that's our liability, not theirs, because we're the ones that are doing it. But they give us a lot of leeway to help the customer, because in return it helps their customer. So if you are one of those people that are calling for roadside assistance, man, hey, just give us a break. We're trying to do as much as we can possibly do for you, but there's some things that we're not capable of doing. In my instance, I don't have my service truck. It sucks, and I understand it, and I understand their frustration, but there's really nobody to really blame. You wasn't educated to do it. Maybe your dealership that you took your car to, or maybe the shop that you took it to, Never even thought about it. I know when I was in the dealerships, because I'm a technician by trade, that was something that I did. Because, believe it or not, one of those cars will end up being a car that I would have to go out and work and do a roadside for. And I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to have to go out there and struggle and do this and do that and then have the customer sitting there before I own my own company. So, let's just not point the fingers and take for what we have and what we learned and then go from that point on. But for all the viewers that do watch my videos and my vlogs, I guess it is, just remember, maintenance is a wide variety of the vehicle and the spectrum. So don't forget about that. And it's always good just to look at your spare, because there's plenty of times I've gone out and the spares are dry rotted. They've been under there for so long, they're unsafe at that point. And nowadays they make new tires for your spares and the donuts and stuff like that. And then there's the whole new thing with the air pumps. Don't get me started on that. I have not found a manufacturer that had a good air pump on their vehicle. And I don't care what manufacturer it is. And I've worked for a lot of manufacturer nameplates as a technician. And the thing is, I have yet to have one of their air pump tire inflators work. So another tip is, when you're buying a new car, make sure you're aware of if you're getting a spare tire or you're getting an air pump. And if you're getting air pump, make sure the dealership gets you a spare. Tell them you don't want that. Because trust me, at same instance, you'll be out there for 45 minutes waiting for me to come out there, and the air pump doesn't work. You're out there for another 45 to 60 minutes waiting for a tow truck to come out. It's not worth it. Spend a little extra money. Ensure that you have a spare. And people, please, I had a call today where lady wanted air. My new air pump went bad, so I'm gonna go buy an air compressor. So I asked her, I said, hey, I'll put the spare on, not a big problem. Oh, my spare's no good because I drove on it for so long. It's no good now. People, it's not a regular tire. It tells you right there on the spare tire, temporary use. Temporary use, that's it. It's not meant to be driven on for days on end. It's only to get you where you have to go to get your tire fixed. That's it. So please, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls and youngsters out there, think about this ahead of time. Don't get into the position where you're stuck on the side of the road because you're not looking at these things. So that's my tips for the day. Outlaw Roadside, Chicago, Illinois. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening. Good night. Bye-bye.